3 back to back, because if you don't know, Jackson, Mississippi doesn't have water, and that's just atrocious, right? There should be not a dollar going to Ukraine, no Javelin missiles, nothing until the people of Jackson have clean water coming out of their pipes. And I've said this before, and I've said this since Flint. Anywhere there's a congregation of black people, check the water, because that's part of racism. Like, our democratic institutions fail. When your democratic institutions fail, your physical and social infrastructure fails. And part of not having clean water is a failure of not only the democracy to secure citizens and need the goods they need in order to, like, enjoy the blessings of liberty, like the Constitution, preamble suggests. Like, there's no redress. There is no redress. You need water in order to function. You need water in order to function, and you need water in order to function at a level on a par with your competitors. It's a very competitive nation. Jackson, Mississippi, the people of Jackson have to compete with other people with water. Right? You got school children who now have to, like, hustle to get water. And they're competing with their suburban peers who do not have to hustle to get water. And they're not at a social disadvantage in a lot of ways. That, the consequences will be enormous. And the stress that comes with not having water in your city. So we need to just say, like, no, black people need to say no to all democratic politics that doesn't actually secure the needs of the good people of Jackson, or the water of everyone. Everyone who's black should be able to turn on a tap and get clean water. And I say everyone who's black, because if everyone who's black is going to be able to turn on tap and get clean water, that means everyone in the United States is going to be able to turn on tap and get clean water. And if I don't say everyone who's black is going to turn on tap and get clean water, then what'll happen is people say, like, oh no, Americans have access to clean water, which in general is true. It's just that the ones who don't happen to be black. Right. So that's playing with generalizations, because Americans have access to clean water. It's just the black ones need, a little bit more, right? Right. They don't in the same way. So what does it mean? People say that all politics is local. Turns out that Jackson, Mississippi has a fantastic local mayor, a guy named Choko Lumumba. Great guy, actually has good politics. Also is running a town with a tax base that can't support the needs of the town, right? So it's a capital town, so which means that, like, the state really should have a special responsibility to make sure its capital is functioning. But also the failure of understanding governance as local when money is not local. Budgets, the national, like, we don't print money at the local level. We take out bonds at the local level sometimes. But no, we need to understand politics, especially racial politics, happens at the national level. It's funny. Because I did a bad faith podcast with Zed Jelani, and he said that, like, well, we need to understand that, different communities have different problems. The black person in Atlanta doesn't have the same problems as the black person in Richmond, Virginia, and the black person in St. Louis, and the black person in Flint. And, the violence that happens there is going to be different in every time. And I said, that's BS. No, black people have the same problem. It's not an accident that the people in Flint are black and the people in Jackson, Mississippi are black, and neither has water, right, that they can just drink, right? It's not an accident. This is what it means to be black in the United States. This isn't a national problem. This isn't a local problem. And so we need a national solution to understand, like, how America is setting up black people for brain disease. Because, makes no mistakes, that's what lead in your water is, brain disease. And, like, all sorts of health maladies that come with whatevers. And I mean, in Jackson, they just got living water. Like, they got all sorts of, like, it's a water filtration system that was never up to its job, right? And so breaks down every time it rains. And so we need to actually just understand that we need to invest in the quality of infrastructure. In my world, we have a federal jobs guarantee where we pay people with a special preference for the people of Jackson to fix their system. So in 25 years, not only do we have we'll have like a standard water system, we will have hired and trained so many of Jackson's residents so that they can have the quality of experience and resources to sustain it themselves, to build and rebuild and sustain it themselves, right? So you need a federal job guarantee that pays people $25 an hour to actually fix what their city needs. And we could do that at the federal level. And you better believe we can do that at the federal level a lot easier than we could do that at a lot easier than we can keep Russia from invading Ukraine, right? We could have a federal job guarantee that paid people to fix what needs to be fixed. And then they'll be more productive, because the idea is that, or some people will say like, well, no, that'll lead to inflation, Amy. No, it won't, because the people in Jackson right now are underproducing. If they're actually producing, then that'll put more goods on the market and bring prices down. Competition, like the South in general, is just an underproductive place relative to the quality of weather and potential quality of life if you actually redress the racial justice issues. So you produce your way out of inflation, and you get money to producers, and you fund production if you're serious about getting rid of inflation. And the resources of production. So it turns out if you clean up Jackson's water and pay people good money to clean Jackson's water, the people of Jackson will be more productive and prices won't go up. It turns out that they'll just bring more goods to market, goods and services to market, quality goods and services to market. Right? So you got these poor black mayors who, it doesn't matter how good their politics is, ultimately, when they need something, they have to go to their state legislatures, and their state legislatures are run by the Klan. So you got these poor black mayors of these poor black towns run into state legislatures who are run by the Klan, and we're surprised that it doesn't work. That's why you need a federal response. And this is all across the United States. It's all across the United States. And we need a federal politics that secures black people what they're owed in order to be made whole citizens, which includes but can't stop at clean water. Thank you for your time, and I will see you next week.